You know how when you love someone and do something stupid and it annoys you but you still love them? That's how I feel about most HD collections. Now, Zone of the Enders is a game that I love, but with this HD collection it's done something very stupid. Let me tell you why I love it and hate it at the same time. Zone of the Enders is a wonderfully depressing game, and I love that. Hideo Kojima, that visionary behind Metal Gear Solid, turned to robot sci-fi and filled it with poignancy, drama, and moments of crushing emotional weight. Any other guy would have made a game that celebrates the joy of being in a flying robot, but not Kojima. No. Everything is depressing about this game. The bullied loner protagonist, the baddie who just wants to die. In fact, the game has a morbid fascination with death in general. Even the in-game radio news broadcast is depressingly frank about the likelihood of death.
All those poor people can do is wait for the release of death. That's all for now.
But where all these things would normally put me off a game, Zone of the Enders always captured my attention because of how bold it was to be different. It's a weird game. A game where giant robots fly around with visibly erect robot genitals. It doesn't hurt that at its base it's a very simple but very satisfying combat system. Between all the drama and compelling space opera, there's a game that combines the best of arcade shmups and close quarters sword fights. Zone of the Enders 1 gets a lot of flack for being light on content and a bit repetitive, but the truth is that it has some great ideas. You're free to explore the colony as you please, and the handful of enemy types get progressively harder, meaning you either learn the system or die horribly. It also tells a short but touching story about a young boy who finds an unexpected purpose in his life. Zone of the Enders 2 inputs a bit more of Kojima flair. The cutscenes are longer and more dramatic, the plot is less intimate and more epic, the graphics are phenomenally pretty, and the game gets very inventive with that core system. An expanded set of sub-weapons and a procession of bosses with their own wee quirks keeps things fresh and ever-changing as the game moves on. Most people prefer Zoe 2, while I've always championed the simple satisfaction of the first game. Either way, what you have here is a collection of two very good games that are well worth playing. Except for one thing. The games themselves might be great, but this is not a great HD port. It's not as bad as Silent Hill HD was earlier this year, but there are still a lot of problems with it. Problems that make me sound like a boring arsehole when I talk about them, but I still think they're important enough to be disappointed by. The frame rate is the main thing. Very often you'll be playing and the game will just stutter. Sometimes it's as often as every other second. Often, especially in bosses, the game gets very choppy and unresponsive, and sometimes the game runs so slow that it feels like your robot is waist deep in tar or something. The thing that's really annoying about all these problems is that the original games never had them, for the most part. Yeah, I know there's one section in the second game, which I won't spoil, that the PS2 just couldn't handle, but for the most part, both games ran smooth as butter, and that's part of what made them so appealing. And see when that happens, see when you get an HD re-release that has more problems than the original, you have to question why they bothered making it. This is a problem with a lot of HD collections. See now, instead of having one classic PS2 game, you've got two limited versions of the same game. One of them is 4:3 standard definition, and the other one is beautiful HD widescreen, but with a heap of flaws and glitches and niggles added on top. We've lost our sense of what the definitive is, and neither version of the game is the absolute best. Basically, if you're going to make an HD version of a game, make it the best version, or don't make it. Just don't make it at all. Just to be clear, none of the flaws in Zone of the Enders HD are enough to totally ruin the game, and if you've never played the games before, then this is a great way to jump in and enjoy them. But the problems are enough to make me say this: Zoe, I love you, but I'm very, very annoyed at you right now.